Lasagna is the perfect meal for those kind of colder autumn evenings. It's so rich and filling and satisfying, and it goes such a long way, and it's just incredibly hearty and lovely. Just such a crowd pleaser. It's got everything you need. Hi everyone, my name's Alex. I'm a chef at the Waitrose Cookery School, and today I'm going to be cooking an absolute family favourite, a classic lasagna. Today we're doing it essentially from scratch, like the white sauce, the ragu, everything apart from the pasta. Nearly all the ingredients are from the Waitrose Essential range. It's super cost effective. For when you want to undoubtedly try this recipe, the link is in the description below. So the first step of our lasagna is to get our meat sauce working. It's a classic tomato-based beef ragu. So pan's on a medium heat, about a tablespoon of just kind of basic Essentials olive oil in there. So once there's a bit of heat in your oil, we can get the beef mince straight in. So today we're using a 10% fat Waitrose Essential beef mince. We're not looking for a really rich dark brown on this. It doesn't need it. The kind of whole of the lasagna is rich enough. We're just looking to kind of get rid of that rawness. So once all the pink is kind of gone, that's all we're looking for. While this is ticking away, we're going to prep our vegetables. Lovely carrot. So we're just going to dice this down, cut this into thin slices, into matchsticks, and then through into a fine dice. You can see the bottom of my mince has gone nice and brown now, so I'm just going to break that up a little bit with a spoon. So we're doing a version of like the most classic lasagna al forno today, which is from Emilia Romagna originally. So that is your classic bechamel, red meat sauce and lasagna. Obviously there's a whole world of different options you could do, some lovely vegetarian lasagnas. This is like a real launch point lasagna. Still absolutely beautiful, but just nice and simple. Just going to prep the onion. We just want this the same kind of size dice as the carrot really, so pretty fine. Obviously any kind of root ends, peel or skin of your vegetables, stick it in your compost if you've got one working. It all breaks down wonderfully and it's nice not to waste anything. Things like onion root and carrot skin, that's great for stocks as well. Beef mince, predominantly brown. I'm just going to get my carrots and onion in there. Give that a good stir. We just want that carrot and onion to really soften now, and that's just going to bring out all the natural sweetness in those vegetables and just make a really rich, beautiful ragu. At this point, we're going to prep our garlic. 2 very generous cloves here, but it's such a preference thing. If you love it, then just put some more in. We're just going to chop this up fine on the board. We're going to just add a tiny sprinkle of table salt. That's just drawing out a little bit of moisture and going to act as almost like an abrasive, and then make it into a bit of a puree just with the tip of our knife. So my carrot has lost its kind of orange vibrancy a little bit. My onions look nice and soft, so I know that's going to be sweet and delicious. Garlic goes in. I'm also going to add a nice big bay leaf. I like to just give it a little crunch as well, so it kind of really releases its flavor. And we're using just dried oregano today. By all means, if you had some fresh oregano, use that. It's just one of the better of the dried herbs, in my opinion. Garlic's so high in natural sugars that it doesn't take a long time to cook out. So after 2 minutes, and you notice it goes from smelling raw and a bit kind of eye stinging to like delicious and sweet and subtle. And I'm just going to creep the heat up, just so I want to kind of almost fry off the tomatoes. It kind of concentrates that flavor a little bit. So just a tin of chopped Essentials tomatoes, and roughly 2 tablespoons of puree. Kind of channeling an Italian nonna today, so I'm not going to measure it, I'm just going to squirt it in. That's nicely mixed. I'm just going to give that about 2 minutes or so, just to kind of really bubble up and just concentrate. That little bit of oil and that beef fat's just going to fry off those tomatoes really nice. At this point, I'm going to add our red wine. Any medium to full-bodied red that you've got would be perfect. So my sauce is essentially built now. I'm just going to give it a little season. Because it's going to cook more, it's going to reduce and make that seasoning stronger. So I'm going to balance that out right before I build the lasagna. So I've got the heat down nice and low, lid's going to go on, and I'm going to forget about this for about half an hour. Now it's time to make the other crucial component to a lasagna, the white sauce. So milk, my weighed out quantity of corn flour. I'm going to add roughly 3 tablespoons to the corn flour. The rest of the milk goes into the cold pan. We just want to mix that corn flour into that little bit of milk, and this is our thickening agent, so that can just sit to one side. Nice big generous bay leaf, nutmeg. We just want to know it's there, but it not to take over everything. Onion, whip that into a quarter. Pop your hob onto like a medium heat. We want it to kind of extrude those flavors, so a kind of gentle speed to get it up to a boil is perfect. Season with salt, a couple of cracks of pepper, a little stir, because obviously there's a lot of fat solids in milk. You don't want those catching in the bottom and burning. So the milk has been infusing for about 15 minutes now, just really slowly ticking away. Remove that onion, remove that bay. Their job is done. This is when we have that prepared little mix of that corn flour and that splash of milk. Pour that all in and get our whisk in to make sure it's not catching on the bottom, not sticking to the corners of the pan. And you'll notice in no time this will start to thicken up. You could, by all means, once it's thick enough, add some Parmesan, add a little bit of mozzarella for a nice kind of stringy chew. But for me, I think the kind of lasagna is rich enough, and it's nice if everything is kind of gentle. None of the elements need to be particularly screaming. They can all just really support each other. So my sauce is nice and thick, so that can just come off the heat and just cool down for a moment. Our white sauce is done. Our meat ragu has been ticking away for about 30 to 45 minutes. Nice and tender. Nearly there, just a little pinch of salt. Now it's time to build the lasagna. For me, the kind of classic approach to this sort of lasagna is meat, bechamel, pasta. So I don't go really, really thick layers. I like to build up quite a few layers. I think that cross section looks really nice. So a layer of meat nearly covering the bottom, and then now in with the bechamel. Today we're using Essential's dried pasta. This tin's just about big enough for 2 sheets. And then repeat the process. Lasagna is one of the oldest references to what we would know as pasta in history. I think the first account of the lasagna al forno from Emilia-Romagna area in Italy was in about 1380, the first recipe appeared, which is absolutely wild. Steeped in meaty, tomatoey history. So as this is the final layer of my lasagna, I'm not going to put the bechamel on now. I'm going to go for 2 sheets of pasta and really go hard with the last of the bechamel. We're going to finish off the top of this lasagna with the perfect cheese. So Waitrose Essential Parmigiano Reggiano. I like a really nice, even and generous cloud-like coating. Everyone's pretty much in agreement. This is the very best bit of the lasagna, that crispy, bubbled up, slightly scorched top. So that's our lasagna built. And if you wanted to, you could build it to this point, leave it in the fridge overnight, and then that's ready to go the next day. So you've done all your work, all your kind of prep, and then the next day you can just get home or people come round, this goes in the oven and all the hard work's done. You've got this beautiful show-stopping lasagna. But I'm gonna cook this right now, and this is gonna go into a hot oven, about 190 degrees for around 25 to 35 minutes. Because all the elements in it are cooked, we're just looking for that pasta to be soft and for it to be lovely browned and piping hot and bubbling. Let's have a look. Perfect, absolutely piping hot, lovely color, really crisp. I always find it's best to let it sit and rest for at least kind of 5-10 minutes. Everything kind of comes together a bit more, it drinks up that juice again, you get a really nice crisp slice to it. Make sure you get all of that goodness at the bottom. And there we are. Lasagna al forno. Nice and crispy on the top, clearly defined layers. So now it's time to have a little taste. Bellissimo. So there you go, guys. Such a great recipe. There's a couple of steps in there, but none of it's rocket science. Super achievable at home, and using nearly all Waitrose essential ingredients. Pretty good on the pocket as well. Just a superb dish to have in your repertoire, and you can take it as far or keep it as simple as you like.